It was just past 9:30 p.m. when Maya Thompson, a 26-year-old elementary school teacher, stepped out of her friend's apartment. The city buzzed faintly behind her, but this block felt eerily quiet. Her rideshare had cancelled last minute, and her phone battery blinked at 2%. She had no choice but to walk the 6 blocks home through dim streets she rarely used. As she moved quickly, her heels tapping against the sidewalk, she felt something, a chill that had nothing to do with the cold wind brushing her cheeks. She glanced over her shoulder and froze. A man in a hooded jacket was following her. She quickened her pace. So did he. Her heartbeat spiked. Panic flooded her senses. Then suddenly, a hand grabbed her arm. Hard. Maya gasped, ready to scream. But before a sound could escape her lips, the man pressed close and whispered something that sent chills down her spine. Don't scream. Keep walking. You're being followed. You're in danger. She stiffened. What kind of twisted game was this? I'm not the threat, he continued in a low voice. But the 2 guys behind me are. One has a knife. If you run, they'll chase. Just act like we know each other. Please. I'll explain everything. But we have to move, now. She looked into his eyes, intense, not with malice, but fear. Real fear. Against every instinct screaming in her body, she nodded. He slipped his arm around her shoulder like a boyfriend would. Just laugh, he whispered. Pretend we're talking. We need to make it to the lit gas station at the next corner. There are cameras. It's safe. Maya tried to play along, her voice trembling as she muttered about something random, school, her day, anything, but inside she was spiraling. Was this a trick? A setup? Or had she really just been pulled out of danger by a total stranger? As they walked, she dared a glance behind. 2 men followed at a distance. One wore a red beanie. The other, yes, had a glint of something in his hand. It was a knife. Adrenaline surged through her like fire. What do they want? She whispered. They target women walking alone, the man said, eyes straight ahead. They watch for patterns. You came down this same street last Friday. I know because I used to work with them. Maya blinked. Work with them? I used to be one of them, he admitted. Until I couldn't live with myself anymore. They reached the gas station. The bright lights overhead buzzed like a heartbeat. Inside, 2 people stood near the register. The man quickly guided her in, nodded to the cashier like they had some unspoken agreement, and said, we need to use the back room. She's in danger. The cashier didn't hesitate. He pressed something under the counter and motioned them to go behind the door. Within moments, the police burst in through the back. Outside, the 2 men lingered, but when they approached, officers swarmed and tackled them. One of the suspects dropped a knife. The other tried to flee but was caught before he reached the street. It was over in less than 2 minutes. Maya stood in shock, her hands trembling. The man, her unlikely savior, turned to leave. Wait, she said, grabbing his sleeve. Who are you? He hesitated. Just someone trying to make up for the things I've done. Before she could ask more, he slipped out the back and vanished. In the days that followed, Maya couldn't stop thinking about him. He had saved her life, and then disappeared like a ghost. She filed a police report, asking for any info on the man. All she had was a description and a possible name, Jay. The officer gave her a quiet nod. Yeah, we know him. Used to be in a gang. Got out 5 years ago. Doesn't talk much. Helps people sometimes. He's like an angel with scars. She tried searching, online forums, community groups, but no one could tell her where he was. Eventually, weeks passed. Maya returned to teaching, but something inside her had changed. She started volunteering at a youth center in the neighborhood. The memory of that night, how close she came to real danger, and how a stranger saved her, haunted her in the best way. She wanted to be part of something good. Something redemptive. And then, one rainy afternoon, as she walked into the center carrying boxes of donated books, she dropped them all at once. Not because they were heavy, but because she saw him. Jay. Mopping the hallway in a volunteer badge and old boots. Their eyes met. Neither spoke. "You," she finally whispered. He gave a shy smile. "Didn't think you'd recognize me without the hoodie." "I looked for you," she said. "People don't usually look for me," he replied. They sat for coffee that day. And she finally learned the truth. Jay had grown up in violence. His father was murdered when he was 10. His mother died of an overdose by 15. The gang became his family. He'd done terrible things. But 5 years ago, something shifted. During a mugging, he had scared a woman so badly, she collapsed. Her daughter came running out of a store, screaming for help. Jay saw the child's eyes, and it undid him. He dropped everything, turned himself in. After time in prison, he dedicated himself to preventing others from going down the path he did. "I don't deserve kindness," he said quietly. "But maybe I can help others avoid becoming like me." Maya reached across the table. "You don't just deserve kindness, Jay. You embody it." From that day forward, they worked side by side at the center. Jay became a mentor to at-risk youth, and Maya provided education and hope. Together, they changed lives. Years later, at a community award ceremony, Maya stood on stage and told their story, the night she thought she was being attacked, the whisper that saved her, and the man who turned from darkness to light. The crowd stood in stunned silence. Then erupted in applause. Jay watched from the back, eyes filled with emotion. He never wanted praise. But that night, as people stood to honor him, not for who he was, but for who he had chosen to become, he allowed himself a rare moment of pride. Because sometimes, the people we fear the most are carrying the deepest wounds, and sometimes, they're the ones brave enough to save someone else, even when no one saved them. And that whisper, "Keep walking," wasn't just about survival. It was about redemption. It was about choosing light, even after living in the dark.